VTuber Rebranding is like giving yourself a magical makeover, transforming your character to better reflect your current self and your content goals, all in an effort to improve something that you're struggling with. Maybe you've just fallen out of love with your design, want to make that fresh start, or maybe you're hoping that this new design will pull some more attention, likes, follows, and subs so you can finally make some progress towards your goals. It's a bold and potentially expensive decision on your part, one that you should not take lightly. So stay tuned to the end because I'm going to share some hard truths that no one else will tell you, as well as my own personal journey and exclusive insider tips. Your rebranding success starts here. A quick clarification. Rebranding is not to be confused with a brush up, which is basically an update to the same model to change things like the art style, add some new outfits, some toggles, etc. And rebranding is a complete replacement of your current model with something that's drastically different. Now that you understand what rebranding entails, let's take a moment and discover your reasons. And let's start with some self-reflection here, writing down your reasons why you do and do not like your current model. And definitely take your time here, because making a quick list is going to miss those deeper insights. And alongside this list of pros and cons for your model, write down your reasons why that you're seriously thinking about rebranding. And the reason why is super important and will become more clear as the video progresses. But for now, remember, this part of the list is about your feelings, good or bad. And as I say in all of my videos, you have to be honest with yourself. Otherwise, you're not going to feel happy and you're not going to succeed. If during this process you uncover reasons like wanting to avoid consequences, hiding from your past, or other similar motives, my recommendation here is to face these head on versus attempting to run. Because if you don't solve them, they'll simply follow you onto the next model and the next. Because, hey, people have tried this. They've tried to rebrand for negative reasons, and they're usually found out and called out publicly. But hey, once you've resolved whatever it is, consider the rebrand at that point if you still want to. A couple of quick things to think about before we move on are you should rebrand for yourself and no one else. And it's fine to let your friends get some input in, but no one should tell you who you are or what you should be. And this is especially true of your followers or strangers on the internet. Because if you let someone else dictate your rebrand, you'll end up unhappy and want to rebrand again. After identifying your reasons for rebranding, it's crucial to manage your expectations. While rebranding can make everything better, the opposite's also true. So let's take a moment to level set before we move on, because you need to know what to expect from going through it. Rebranding is not a guarantee for gaining more followers or instant fame. It does have the possibility to enhance your brand and online presence, but it will not fix any underlying content issues or engagement issues. And going through a rebrand isn't instant either. It's months of planning, decision-making, communicating with whomever you've hired, waiting, and keeping secrets. So you'll be using up some of your time to do all of this, and typically while you still continue to use your current model and make content. Creating a VTuber can be very costly, and rebranding is starting from scratch and paying all of those same costs all over again. And for reference, a live 2D model can cost anywhere from $500 to $3,000 with art plus rigging. It can go higher, can go lower, but that's an average. And a 3D model can cost anywhere from $1,000 to $15,000, according to the internet. I don't have a 3D model. But so each time you rebrand, you better have your platinum credit card handy because it's not cheap. Be wary about scammers during this process as well. And I wish there was some scam-proof advice that I could give you. But the best thing to do is research anyone you're thinking of hiring. If they list names of who they've worked with, go have a look at the models in action to see if it's what you're after. And demos are helpful, but I prefer to see the actual use. And while artists can change up their style to suit a customer's desires, if it varies wildly, it might be a sign of stolen or even AI art. And all of this is shared to paint the picture of rebranding for what it is, an expensive commitment that should be a long-term one. And it's not a magical process where you're reborn and all of your content and fame concerns are fixed. And it's also not something you should do often. Not only is it going to murder your wallet, but it could also confuse your audience and dilute your brand identity. Before we dive back in, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, give that bell a good stab so it knows you mean business and you want all future video updates every time I post. Now that your expectations are set and your reasons figured out, let's move on to actually planning your rebrand. And remember, this is typically a secret project and only shared when it's complete. Whether you do that or not is totally up to you. Personally, I shared it with a very close friend because it became impossible to keep the secret and contain my excitement over time. And if you plan to make content, decide on what you're going to create. Are you going to tell spooky stories? Do some hand cam baking? Or maybe some video game speedruns? Aligning your VTuber design with your content will help you, because people will visually know what to expect. For example, a cute model with cupcakes for hair buns suits baking, while a scared little girl might add an interesting twist to spooky stories. And to come up with these ideas for your next design, brainstorm and save images that's going to fit your vision. I recommend creating a rebranding folder on your computer with subfolders like hair, face, outfit, etc. And be sure to go back through it all periodically and delete things that you've ruled out to keep it all manageable. And of course, the one big fear that everyone has is, what if my new design is so close to an existing VTuber? While yes, it's a good idea to make sure you're not copying somebody, but at the same time, you cannot be afraid of the basic things like being a cat girl, a dog boy, a wolf, etc. When I started 2 years ago, I didn't know much about VTubers, but I did know that I wanted to be unique. At first, I considered to be a red Oni girl, but I quickly found one that was very amazing. So I chose to be a Gorgon because I'm the only one that likes those, right? Only to discover so many awesome Gorgon VTubers already existed before I did. And even after my rebrand, I'm still friends with some of them. But one thing I discovered is that the VTubing community is vast. So chances are someone else is already using a similar base concept. This doesn't mean you can't be original. The key lies in how you personalize and describe your character. Take my old Gorgon persona. There were other Gorgons, but I stood out as a reverse isekai character that was the daughter of the final boss who just wanted to play video games in the new world. And as a Fennec Fox Kitsune Ninja VTuber, my backstory is unique even among other foxes. Kidnapped from the desert and brought to Japan, I escaped to the forest of Kyoto to be taken in by a family of ninja, eventually living old enough to become a kitsune. Hopefully by now, you see where I'm going with this. Sure, there are tons of cat girls, but can you be one and be original? Absolutely. Even if some of your adjectives align, odds are your design will separate you even further. So don't be afraid of being what or who you want to be because someone else was a red Oni first. But if you're still concerned, do some searches to see who has similar themes. Google is a wonderful start, but VTuber is also a great resource here. Now that we got that rebrand planned, the next step is to build some hype. Understand here that you don't need everything ready before you do the re-debut. Your model, of course, can be ready, but your stream layout, emotes, all those extras can come later. And not only is this less stressful on you, it's less stressful on your wallet. Announcing your rebrand is crucial. Your current followers need to know, and you might attract some new ones. And build hype with update posts. And as the re-debut draws near, use a silhouette reveal using likes and retweets to unlock certain parts. You can even have fun with it and ask people to guess which you are, Pokemon style. And as for how many of those likes and retweets you need to ask for, find accounts with similar follower numbers and use them to gauge how many likes and retweets to ask for. You can search popular hashtags like these and be sure to use the most popular ones when you're doing your posts. When your reveal is complete, be sure to update all of your social platforms with your new design to avoid confusion. And this doesn't need to be a perfect process with awesome graphic design. you can just take some quick pics from VTube Studio and use one as a profile picture, get a close-up of your eyes, and use that as the banner, and just work up to better pictures later. With the hype built up and your design public, it's time to pick a date for the re-debut stream. And this can be a normal length stream, or it can be a larger event like a 48-hour streamathon. Either way, you might want to go over things like your lore, your toggles, your likes and dislikes. Really, it's whatever you want to talk about or to share with your audience. And like many, when I re-debuted, I put together a PowerPoint presentation because I'm a nerd, but ultimately I wanted to be able to not forget anything that I wanted to talk about or any of the jokes that I wanted to make. And another thing to remember is scuff is a natural part of streaming for us VTubers, but be sure to test your model beforehand and work out any bugs with your mama or papa before going live. And be sure to set up all the toggle buttons that you're going to need and be familiar with them. I still have a habit of forgetting that toggles are a thing. After the re-debut, it's important to keep managing your expectations, because I wish I could say that rebranding was an amazing process with only positive outcomes. It's, however, like everything in life, it comes with ups and downs. When you're making big changes like this, you may lose some followers along the way. This is especially true if you're changing your content as well. If someone's currently watching you because they love baking cupcakes, but now you're telling spooky stories, there's a chance to leave. And I need to stress here that losing people during this process is normal and should never influence your rebrand. Make changes for yourself and for your own happiness, not for the sake of others and not for a number on your screen. In keeping with this food theme, you need to break a few eggs to make an omelet. Odds are you won't have any negative reactions to your rebrand, but with larger followings comes a greater chance. If something should happen, and just remember that if people are vocal about it and being upset about those changes, odds are they're not the type of people you want in your fan base anyway. And hopefully it won't become full-blown drama, but if so, take a moment, absorb the whole situation, step away, gather your thoughts before you go addressing things. Because firing off a quick reply while you're emotional is not the best idea. Finally, let me share my personal rebrand story with you to help illustrate why all of this is so very important. And there's a reason why in my videos I keep saying be honest with yourself, because that's what saved me from giving up, and it also brought back my happiness. I had to take a serious look at myself, and I had to admit to some very difficult truths. It was never that others were better than me, or that I sucked at something, or that fate hated me, or whatever the current dark thought or blame game I had was. Because when I started, I didn't understand what I was doing, and I tried to be something that I wasn't. So I ended up acting 24/7 like someone else, trying in vain to be famous, and it was exhausting, both mentally and physically. I wish I could promise you if you present your authentic self to the world, all the stars will align and you'll get exactly what it is that you want. But one thing that I am certain of is that you will be happier if you are in a similar headspace like I was, and doing things for all the wrong reasons. Rebranding was like a rebirth for me. All of those bad thoughts and ideas ditched at the same time. The model associated with it all replaced with one that I created with my personality and interests in mind. All these colors are because I'm an artist. And even though it took me around 8 months to figure out the design and draw her, it was worth it. I am the happiest I have ever been as a VTuber and content creator. The Finnick Fox just came to me and it stuck. And since I was so colorful, I needed a profession that had muted clothing, so I reached back to my childhood and when I swung sticks like swords and tossed store-bought shurikens at trees, and I became a ninja. And I'm a kitsune because, let's be honest, they're hot. So many tails. So what I'm saying here is that you do you be you. Don't listen to anybody else, because if you do, it's just going to drive your unhappiness. So be honest with yourself, do some soul searching. Let me know in the comments how that went, and I'll see you later.